by including illegal aliens. Remember, they sued Donald Trump. They sued the administration. They fought tooth and nail to include illegal aliens in the census. 20 to 30 of House Democrat seats wouldn't exist but for illegal aliens. Texas is taking just a small corrective step against this ocean of fraud, this ocean of abuse by the corrupt Democrat Party, Sean.
Well, there's Stephen Miller, the president's senior advisor, laying out the strategy, the tactics, and the why of the what, which is becoming a national battle across many states. That is the mid-census redistricting battle, and that discussion may be going on among people in the leadership roles at the Sedalia, Missouri State Fair. I would not be surprised. Welcome into Wake Up Missouri. I'm Randy Tobler. Peter Thiel identifying as Stephanie Bell this morning.
I do,
Very
and
nice.
I'll tell you what, I feel stunning and brave now.
You do.
Stunning and brave.
But the question is, will you win? Folks will have to listen to see, because Stephanie likes to win. So we'll have to see.
Okay.
We don't know what you're going to win on, but you have to win.
Okay, good luck. Good luck with that.
And John Marsh, there, of course, holding forth. And of course, Drake Whitman. We are Wake Up Missouri. It's a Feel-Good Friday. I have my red on. Peter has his Hawaiian elements. There are elements of red in your Hawaiian shirt there. That's good. That's good. John has a little bit of red on his.
Little bit.
Wake Up in this Wake Up Missouri shirt is red. And Drake is
wearing a Cardinals jacket.
Speaking of the Cardinals, let's not feel good for about 2 seconds, and then we'll feel good the rest of the show. The Cardinals are not making me feel good. They're 58 and 58.
Sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's now they got a 3-game series against the Cubs starting tonight. They won 2 out of 3 from L.A.
Then they get the Rockies.
Yeah.
The Rockies are good.
Yeah.
That's a terrible team, so that's 3 wins.
Home or away, though. Rockies
Doesn't
are
matter.
better at home.
They're terrible. But here's how our beloved Redbirds end the season. They've got like the Cubs twice after the 29th of August. Then they have the Brewers twice and the Reds twice.
Yeah.
In the middle, they do have the Sacramento Athletics. They're not calling them Sacramento.
The Sacramento Athletics.
That's where they're doing the games this year, is in Sacramento.
Oh, because what?
They got their lease was up at that. And by the way, I love going to baseball stadiums.
Yeah.
I love the idea of sitting in the crowd, the sound, the smells, the whole bit. I liked it better when there was cigar smoking at ballparks, but it is what it is. You know, beer on a hot day, hot dogs and pretzels and peanuts is really good. So that Oakland Stadium, and I've been to a few games there, absolutely the worst stadium in Major League Baseball. There's not even a question.
Haven't been there. I don't know.
Well,
especially if you're there during the earthquake back in the day.
Why is it bad?
It's built for football. There's no intimacy.
I see.
It's also at an area of the bay. It's just off the water of the bay. And people don't realize San Francisco can cool off at night very quickly. And so all of a sudden it's August and it's 65.
Yeah, that's right. It is volatile there. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. And then when the wind starts whipping in, it's a little mist.
It's not a pleasant place. And Oakland is, Oakland's not considered a garden spot.
No,
it's Oakland is not considered a. You know what? I'm going on vacation to Oakland, California. It's like saying I'm going to Camden, New Jersey, or Gary, Indiana. It's
route.
It's if you like being shanked, those are your places.
Well, we'll have to see if the Cardinals are even going to make any kind of just a stance for their own integrity and credibility. At least maybe they'll stay competitive. We'll have to see. The tariff wars are in effect. There's no doubt about that. That started yesterday. Later on, Peter will have the market report and see what the markets are doing in response to that, both yesterday and then in the futures today. And the trade wars are going to be interesting. I think the trade wars as a result of these tariff things are going to be very, very interesting. And we've got some stories that may be throwing a little bit of some water on the fire that is America's hotness, according to Donald Trump. We can talk about that. At 6:35, speaking of intimacy, they captured that Bodie character that they've been chasing all around, that women apparently have been harboring. They said they wanted to harbor him. They caught him Brian Hauswirth will join us at 6:35.
And you have to wonder, it's okay, you're dealing with a thug and a bad guy.
Yeah.
And the women love him. I think women love danger. Have you ever asked your wife and daughters about that, Randy, about the whole, the attraction women have to dangerous men?
I don't understand that. We've talked about that, and I think dangerous men in terms of the extreme of women seem to be attracted to bad boys that they think they're going to fix, right?
Yeah.
Which I don't, because women like security. My wife likes security. She wants to she wants to pay off the loan. She wants to make sure let's not take a risk here and there. And men tend to be the risk takers.
Yes.
Why, if that's the truth, why is it also the truth that they like guys that take the most risk that get in the most trouble? Is that filling in a missing part of them? Or I don't understand it.
If
it doesn't make sense.
I will tell you, this Brian Koberger who killed all the people in Idaho, I have a bet that I'll make with you.
Okay.
Within 5 years, he's married.
No.
Both
inside the pokey?
Yeah, both Menendez brothers got married inside the pokey. I mean, it's Charles Manson got married inside the pokey, I think, a couple of times. This is not unusual. This is not unusual at all. There's a sexual magnetism to guys that commit murder or bad guys that women will just run and grab to.
All right, well, let's try to understand this. 573-874-9390. That should be a running thread for any of you of the female persuasion. If you can explain why some women on the Facebook thread of the Fulton County Sheriff, I think it was the Fulton County Sheriff Facebook page, but it was an official law enforcement page, that they said, we're in the manhunt for this guy. He was in Branson, he was in mid-Missouri, the guy's all over the place, he's been in and out with serious crime. Why were women posting, one of them, I remember, it was 3 words, I'd hide him. Hello?
There's a Instagram page called Mugshotties. And sorry, Randy was drinking when he heard
a cup
that.
Of coffee there,
and we almost have to give him a Heimlich. Drake wanted to do that.
What's it called?
Mugshotties. Essentially, it's very pretty girls who've got arrested, and it's like a whole list of them.
Very pretty girls.
Yeah, just girls. And
I think Drake has that on his bookmarks bar.
I'm sure if he doesn't, he will now. There's one gal who is just absolutely stunningly gorgeous.
Yeah.
Who's been arrested like 4 times for. But I don't know. I don't understand why the women like the dangerous guy. I think the fixing and maybe they look at the guy as uber masculine. I don't know what the whole deal is.
I don't know.
They had one psychiatrist, a psychologist on one of the big networks who said it's the mothering instinct.
Okay, is that what it's going on?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Well, and then we have this from at 7:35. I want everyone to mark your calendars for that. Tell the boss you need to go out and take a smoke, even if you don't smoke.
It's time to pick it up.
Or tell the boss to
start smoking today. It's a great habit, good for the tax base.
We're going to be talking with Jill Schluty, the Chief Jill Schluty of the Columbia Police Department, and apparently there's quite a flap over some low-level citations that they were issuing. Apparently they cuffed a few people in the last few weeks. In the streets, in hot spots in downtown Columbia, because, of course, the incidents of violent gun crime with people, innocent bystanders being shot, terrible things happening.
Well, the city of Columbia, and this, by the way, happens all over the state, it could happen in Springfield or Jeff City, is that whenever you have a large congregation of teenagers that are in a place like the mall,
yeah,
a lot of malls say nobody under 18 after a certain time, all that sort of stuff. It's because you get a group of people, they feed off the energy. There's 1 or 2 dopes who have a gun on them. They're strapping, and all of a sudden there's a beef that occurs, and the mental acuity is not there. And we have the natural ability. Humans are a pack species, Randy.
We are social animals. Yeah.
And when you, especially if you think back, and I know it may take a moment here, think back to the days when you were a kid, when you were like 15, 17 years old.
In the 80s.
You would want to get there with your kids.
Yeah.
And with other kids just like you and hang out. And even though, quote unquote, you weren't in a gang, your friends were your gang.
Well, I remember Helene and I were in the band at our big school, big school. Well, at that time, the biggest graduating class in St. Louis. And I remember afterwards, after a band concert, all of us would go to, at that time, Jacks or Better. which is where there was the first place you could throw the peanuts on the floor. We love that. You crack the
Yeah,
peanuts.
yeah, I love those
I think
places,
a lot of those places forgot
Are
about
gone.
it.
You know why? It's called hygiene.
Yeah.
And
But
it's.
I remember that. And it's a place where,
Yeah.
it's a place where we could go and get free food, right, and not have to pay as much. We'd eat so many peanuts that we wouldn't have to buy the most expensive burger on them.
Yeah, and
it was
thus
very
the
good.
place is out of business.
Yeah, now they're out of
Health department, Randy and his buddies consuming way too many peanuts. This is the man to blame. Randy Tobler right here in Wake Up,
Darn
Missouri.
band dandies.
But those were great places. But those little I remember those because those were great social events, right?
Yes.
We all had our, first of all, the band itself is a social event. A football team is a social event. A marching Mizzou is a social
And
event.
then you guys just talk about remembrances of band camp.
Yeah. Tiger Tailgate is a social event. That starts on August 27th. And make sure that you guys register for that. We'll have more information about that in the coming weeks or so. But you're right. Social animals, that actually feeds into the social media pathology we have, right? Because
Yes.
everyone wants to show how great they are. But that's the problem. It's a faux socialization. You're not really looking at someone. You're not actually giving someone a hug when you meet them. It's different.
Yeah, and well, I'll tell you what. I can remember back to junior high and high school, hanging out with my boys.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we
sure.
were not up to bad things.
Not you, not Peter.
No,
Oh, yeah, right.
no. It's not me. It's
hand behind his back, fingers crossed.
the worst thing that we did is that, well, in junior high, we did a lot of stuff in my neighborhood.
Do you want to share? Is the statue up?
I told my parents, they were shocked. Here's what we did:
Yeah.
is that Friday nights, all the parents in the neighborhood would be out to their to dinner, what have you. You're 14, whatever. We would go and raid liquor cabinets, and we would go between homes so no one would notice, and we just put a little bit off of each bottle of booze.
So no one would notice.
And mix it in with some high C.
Oh, my God.
And we called it a loving cup, and we
Jungle juice.
Yeah, and we would drink it, and we'd be buzzed from it, and and our parents all would have a toddy or two. They couldn't smell it if we were awake when they got home. It was good, strong. Good lessons for your children today. That's what we do here on Wake Up Missouri.
Stephanie Bell is Peter Picklebrain Thiel. We call him. He's in this morning. John back with the Daily DC Rundown in just a few. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Wake Up.
nations who conduct trade with Russia. Amid the war with Ukraine, White House been pretty tight-lipped, though, on what the tariffs will look like. President did say back in July they could amount to as much as 100%. President now directing federal law officers to increase their presence throughout Washington following the concerning surge in violent crime, including the incident which a former DOJ worker nicknamed Big Balls was brutally beaten in the streets. It kicked in at midnight. President says it could go 7 days or longer. And with preparations for the 2030 census already underway, the president says he's instructed the administration to start work on a new census. He says it would exclude the millions living in the country without legal status.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with that one.
This is an interesting story in terms of America governance and how power is wielded and how it is careened from side to side to side. I think the modern age of powerful politics to the max started with the nuclear option when it only
Reid, yes.
When it only took 51 votes to get nominees right to the federal bench. Okay. Then it was like, okay, touche. You want to do that? Now we're going to get the Republicans then, we're going to get Supreme Court nominees through. Okay. Now, this is the first time that mid-census redistricting has happened, right? Because,
yes.
Okay, but isn't there a good argument? Because they've loaded the gun for them, the Democrats, by letting all these persons come in, the illegals, which are counted in the census, right? That's why the 2020 census skewed things in the Democrat
And
way.
California has a better excuse than Missouri. California, since the census, have 2 million more residents.
Problem is they're the illegals for the most part.
No. There's a lot of companies. There's a lot of people moving to Texas.
California.
Texas. I'm talking
right.
Texas.
Yeah, but California now. Newsom's going to fight back. He must have a lot more. Does he want to take the few red districts and turn them to blue now?
If you want to see, look at the congressional map. Look at that, Randy, of California. It's totally gerrymandered. So take them on.
Right.
It is on like Donkey Kong.
They started the fight. We need to finish it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You pull out a knife. You pull out a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah.
We're going to go take care of business.
Had it not been for the mass illegal immigration, I actually would have been on the side of the Democrats on this, right? Because that's what skewed the 2020 census.
Because, they
How many
allowed.
seats did the Republicans lose? 5 or 7? I mean, there was a significant number, right?
Yeah.
We need to get those back and then some to continue the conservative march. Needs to happen. So we'll have to see where it goes. I don't know. But we are going to...
14th Amendment challenge looms large over it, too. That's
well,
the
remember,
other side of it.
Trump challenged the census and the counting of the illegals, but the Supreme Court said the Constitution says you got to count persons, not citizens. Maybe we need a constitutional amendment.
But I don't think that'll get through Congress.
No, you're right.
And
and it'll take years from the states.
I'm a realist on these things.
Oh, that's no fun. Why can't
know.
you be a utopian? Be a utopian.
Yeah, you see, that's what the left is. The left, they're a bunch of utopian hippies.
There's those of us on the right that are
By the way, if you watch us on YouTube on the Wake Up Missouri page, you'll get to see me smile like Mom Donnie.
Peter's going to do his Mom Donnie
creepy,
face at some point. It is. When we come back, we're going to talk with Hauswirth and Marsh and get their impressions on this Bodie guy. This character was found, and so we'll find a little bit of
Some women are very sad now.
And we still are looking for your thoughts about why are they attracted to bad boys? 573-874-9390. Let us know. 35. Every Friday, we ask for your nominations for winners and losers of the week. So you can start accumulating those, and we'll be offering some of our own at that time as well. Speaking of winners of the week, joining our award-winning news team is Gary calls you the news god. News god Brian Hauswirth. But he joins us now.
He didn't wear the cape, though. There's no purple gown. There's none of the normal stuff. Hauswirth shows up to be with Gary, and I'm insulted. I don't know about you. I'm insulted by that.
Well, when it comes to news, I worship at the altar of all of our news people, Brian and John and Mike and Don in Springfield, of course, who does a great job. And yes. But now the one thing we can say about the three of you that are not Don is that you do not have an expertise in mini golf. Golf. I don't know. No. Do you have a sports expertise? Ultimate Frisbee or what?
I actually enjoy mini golf. It's just Don is phenomenal.
But you're a regular golfer. Yeah.
I enjoy that, and just it's more of a really seriously. I enjoy battling diabetes is what I'm doing when I do that. Mini golf is really a good practice for golf as well, but I will tell you the courses in Branson and Springfield are a little bit better than the ones here, but the ones here are pretty good too. They're really nice. Midway Golf and Games is a great facility.
They do a great job. That's Brian Hauswirth, along with his partner in newsworthiness is John Marsh, of course. Peter Thiel in for Stephanie Bell. I'm Randy Tobler, along with Drake Whitman. We are Wake Up Missouri. Our text number this morning, 573-874-9390. We continue to ask the question, why do women have this attraction to bad boys? Mm-hmm. And sometimes, according to one bad boy, story about a bad boy, they wanted to harbor him. They said they'd be happy to hide him. That one bad boy was Gary Bodie Moore, right?
Yes.
And Brian, he's been captured now.
He has been captured. We actually
at some woman's house.
Well, it was at a house in Boonville. They have not said specifically.
If there's a woman there,
are you going to be able to track that down? I mean, I would give a lot of money to find out if someone was actually harboring.
And I hope they arrest the harborer.
Yeah.
And and her name being Caitlin or something.
Yeah. I will tell you that eventually it'll come out in court documents if that's the case. But it could be a vacant house. It was on Ashley Street in Boonville. We do know that.
Maybe the woman's name is Gladys.
But we'll find that out.
In Boonville. Okay.
But it was in Boonville yesterday. We actually broke it during the Gary Nolan show that he'd been captured. But here's what we know about that. They got a tip of some kind, guys, that Gary Bodie Moore was in Boonville. And originally that was not a town that was on the radar screen of the authorities. Of course, he's from Hallsville. He's from rural Callaway County in mid-Missouri. But our KWTO listeners know he had been in Branson. He had narrowly escaped a couple of pursuits there. And in and out of prisons, they got a tip. They found him. They communicated with him, and they made it clear. Sheriff Maley said, they got on the loudspeaker and said it's in your best interest to come out to avoid resisting arrest charges additional. And they got him to finally come out, arrested without incident. They did give him a final cigarette. They allowed him that too.
That's great. It's great.
Oh, my.
What's next? A firing squad?
And you know what?
What a bunch of considerate cops.
Do you know what? That's also good for the tax base. So I want to thank any smoker that is paying $80 for a pack of cigarettes. That's good tax money. And God bless that cop for helping that feller have a smoke.
See, if I was Gary, I'd want. Can I just have one more veggie straw?
Yeah.
Just one more veggie straw, please.
Well, I will tell you is my gut feeling. Of course, I wasn't there. They had this obviously kept it away from, and it wasn't on the scanner. I didn't find out until right after it happened. My gut feeling is because he has a history of assaulting law enforcement, 18 years. My gut feeling is they gave him that basically that he didn't fight with the police, and he didn't.
Well, they had to tread very carefully.
They did.
With that history.
Yeah. So but that's what they did. I will also, to your point, guys, about what women and harboring and everything. Yeah. On the Callaway County Sheriff's Department Facebook page this week, they've been looking for him for a couple weeks. You had a number of women who were saying we would harbor him, they would hide him and stuff like that. Even last night, if you go to the Callaway County Sheriff Facebook page, one of his relatives is saying that he is not a criminal, that people are making up stuff about him. And she also, this relative who claims to be a relative, says that he's only dangerous to people who do him wrong, is what she said.
Okay, well, that's
all of us.
So what is doing him wrong? Like arresting him for attacking a cop?
People are really going after her on that because she doesn't say what that means. But, to them, maybe that would be, but she said it's on the face. You could pull it up. He's only dangerous to those who do him wrong.
I think that's great. And that's the type of leadership that we need. But this also goes in. Is that for a single gentleman, which, like 30% of the homes are one person only. So a lot of those are guys.
Right.
Here, if you want to get more dates, just say that it's either I'm hanging out with you or I'm robbing a bank. What do you want, honey? Can you fix me? And I bet you get more chicks that way.
I know this about Bodie Moore. You had Peter and Randy. A number of women flat out said they would harbor him. They were on the web, and of course they were on the sheriff's department website. I'm sure the sheriff's deputies looked at that. By the way, the FBI was looking at that website as well because they were searching for the guy. They have not made any arrests, by the way, for anybody harboring him. But what one person said, you saw it, they said they used to see him stealing all the time at the Fulton Walmart. They said that.
Yeah.
And then somebody else said on the Facebook page that he actually stole, I don't know if there's an allegation that he stole his ex-wife's car.
But she was sticking up for him.
I'm not sure.
Didn't
how
you
many,
say that the last
No,
time?
that was a woman claiming to be a family member.
It was a woman claiming to be a
family member.
Yeah,
family
exactly.
Member. Well,
He had multiple ex-wives. I don't know.
Multiple ex-wives.
He may. I don't. It's
when
hard
will they learn?
I don't know. But I do know that he does have a family here in mid-Missouri and Callaway County. Some support him, some don't, but he has been captured, guys.
So let me ask you this.
Sure.
Your story says that Callaway County sheriff's deputies, he was captured without incident by Callaway County sheriff's deputies, but Boonville is in Cooper County.
Correct.
How does that work? Isn't there some kind of a jurisdictional thing or no?
There is, but that is a great question. It is, yes, and I confirmed that with Sheriff Maley.
That's interesting.
Cooper County may have been there and probably as a backup, but I did, I've been communicating daily with Sheriff Maley, and he's been very tight-lipped until yesterday. He let me know immediately that they had captured him because I've been checking with him every day.
Wow.
But what they did based on, and he was limited in what he could say, they got the tip. I don't know how they got it. Could be that they had an informant. Who knows? But they knew where he was. They confirmed it. They apparently had a visual sighting. And then Callaway County Sheriff's deputies went first. Boonville with them to assist. I'm sure they had backup as well, but those were the two lead agencies. This was big enough they may have had Highway Patrol as well, but for sure, those were the two lead agencies.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And
do they often work that way? If one county if that's really the jurisdiction of where the warrant was or whatever, will another county say, "Hey, you're welcome to come in and help us"? But that doesn't happen without some permission, right?
Exactly.
A little turf there.
Matt Nichols is listening at CPOA, and he could help out. I think my gut feeling is yes, they assist each other, but they would communicate that. But this rises, guys, to this is a pretty big level. This was fair to say, not quite a big manhunt, but they were looking for them all over the state, so they would have communicated. And DOC's been involved as well. He is going to go straight back to prison. He'll go to Fulton, and then he'll probably end up in a maximum. He has to finish his prison sentence. Remember, he's been in this relative that's saying that he's only dangerous to those who wronged him. He has been in and out of prison for 18 years. He's going to go back, and then he's going to face all these additional new charges, resisting police,
You think he goes back to prison just to keep the women away for a while? You think that's, I think that makes all the sense in the world. The women are all over him, and they're, he has several girlfriends, and they all have dreams that he's seeing other women, and they wake up mad at him.
Yeah. I'm not sure how that works, Peter.
Oh, man, I'm telling you.
We'll see what happens.
It's a great story.
He'll end up in the maximum security prison. 93.9theeagle.com. I've got his mugshot. More details, guys. Appreciate you.
By the way, Chief Jill Schluty will be in studio at 7:35, and we're going to be talking about the new policy. Apparently, she's gotten some heat from the city council, or there have been complaints about some lower-level crime citations that have been issued. So we'll talk with her at that time. and ask her about these kind of matters. Like, how does that work when someone else is looking for the guy that's in your territory? You know, I'm just curious.
I think they make I think this is how it works, is that they will call the chief of police and they'll say, hey, we've got a guy on the run we believe's in your county in this place. Usually, that being said, from how I understand how this works, is that usually the jurisdiction will send an officer with them.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
So it's apprehended by the people of the different county, the different jurisdiction, but normally there's one officer who's with them at the time.
And Brian mentioned his story. The Boonville police were there and probably either backing up or assisting. Yeah. Right. Because with a guy like this, I mean, these people are clearly loose cannon. You don't know what's going to happen. The more hands on deck, the better. Right?
Well, and again, he's really a good guy unless he feels like you've done him wrong, according to his family members.
Yeah, because he is the judge, jury, and executioner.
Correct.
After all.
It's he's a sovereign citizen.
It's all about me.
Yeah, he's a sovereign citizen. I think that's great. And anyone who criticizes him for that, I don't know if this is America anymore.
Yeah. Well, coming up in Make Missouri Healthy Again, we've got something a story that may disappoint Peter. Let's just say that the size of a particular body part can predict how long you'll live. That when we come back on Make Missouri Healthy Again.
I got big ears.
This
Welcome back into Wake Up Missouri. I'm Randy Tobler along with Peter Thiel, in for Stephanie Bell, John Marsh, and Drake Whitman. Don't forget your nominations for winners and losers at 8:35. Start accumulating those. We're getting a couple of those by text, which is 573-874-9390. Now get out your tape measures, everyone. Scientists are proposing that the size of a certain body part can produce how long you live. And I'm going to
live a long time.
Now tell the truth. When I previewed that, you went out and called.
Dead man walking.
No. He called his insurance agent and wanted to buy more life insurance because he said it's coming soon. You know what that body part is?
Your ears.
It's your calf circumference.
Oh,
yeah. You know why? Now, I know Drake, but when I said the body part thing, Drake started weeping. He was sobbing. But no, you're okay. You're okay, Drake. It's all safe. We're talking about calf circumference. You know why? Calf circumference, now, with some caveats, calf circumference, they say, may actually be a measure of your muscle bulk.
Oh.
Muscle bulk matters, especially as we age, we tend to lose muscle. I mean, the fancy word for that is sarcopenia. But, you lose muscle. And that correlates with muscle strength, muscle bulk correlates with longevity. Because
I call that study a scam, and I'll tell you why.
Why is that?
NFL players have huge calves because of what they're doing, and they end up dying earlier than almost any other person.
I would propose that there's more to it than just the calf measurement. And in fact,
of course,
in the study, they caution that maybe even a better metric may be waist to calf circumference size. One of the things we know about is waist to hip ratio. If you've got more of a waist than you do a hip, in other words, if you're more of an apple than a pear, guys, listen up. If you got that dad bod, it actually probably tells us that you're having a lot more visceral fat, and visceral fat is inflammatory. That is, relates to your cardiac risk, among others.
My grandfather was a man of bulk.
Yeah.
88.
Yeah.
And
so this isn't obviously the only metric, but I think it's interesting.
He was full-bodied.
And the other thing is, it probably doesn't apply to folks that have a lot of just fat mass. So, if you've got a lot of fat mass, your calves may be bigger on the basis of that and not your muscle. But I think what I want to get through to everyone is, as we in our office are doing body composition analysis, and we're looking at folks, whether it's a DEXA scan, the one they use for osteoporosis, but with different settings, looking at your lean mass versus your fat mass. And there's other machines that do that. Some of the fitness centers and the gyms have that. Look, if you can increase your muscle mass, or at least maintain it as you get older, and lose that fat mass, you're going to be better off. It's better for your blood pressure. It's better for your insulin resistance. It's better for so many things, and better for inflammation. And so just try to make sure when you're working out, when you commit to that workout schedule, which I know many of you going into fall are going to start doing that, because you know what's coming up. After fall, what happens? Winter. That's called Christmas.
Well,
that's called holiday parties.
Prime eating territory happens in November and December, and that's exciting.
So many people in anticipation of the holiday season, a lot of gals get on the treadmill and in the weight room because they want to make sure they can fit into last year's dress. Guys, I think to some extent do that as well. As you're designing that workout program, make sure that you're not forgetting the resistance training. It is more and more and more important. And you can have cardiovascular health to that too. We used to think, you got to aerobicize for an hour and a half a day. Make sure you're getting your aerobics in. That's good for your cardiovascular health. But do not forget your muscles. And Peter, aren't you thankful it's about the calf when it comes to body size?
Yeah, it really is. I'm very happy about that. And I was thinking about this. You had brought up about men concerned about their dress for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Mm-hmm. I'm curious if I can still fit into that wonderful Holly Hobby dress.
Yeah,
I think that's wonderful.
I save, you might be surprised to hear this, but I have my suits going back to forever. I save my suits, I save my ties, I save all of that, because given time, the wide lapels will come back, wide ties will come back, although RFK is making the narrow tie popular. I've got a bunch of those I like. But I can almost fit into some of those 90s suits. I'm getting
if
there.
It wasn't
I'm getting
for
closer.
His massive thighs.
But the massive calves. That's what it is. I'm busting the seams on those calves.
Yeah, it's just I have a really nice suit that comes in and out of style that I got like in the late 90s.
What makes it come in and out?
It's a double-breasted.
Oh, double-breasted suits. Classic.
Yeah, it's a charcoal, dark charcoal.
Yep.
It's very nice and still fits me. And yeah, there are periods where you don't want to. Those are completely out of style. Then they come right back, and I pull that sucker out and show off.
What do you think of the plaid? Everyone's wearing plaid suits now.
Yeah, I don't do that.
I mean, to me, for a while, there was a time when that loud plaid that now is popular was sort of considered sort of almost like Barnum and Bailey, right?
Well,
I mean,
what's
some
next?
of these things.
Bring back the Madras golf slacks, a la Springfield's own Payne Stewart.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I mean, it's interesting how those styles come and go. And the one thing I will never. I'm like Charlton Heston with the gun. You're going to have to take my Rush Limbaugh ties out of my cold, dead hands. I've got a collection of them. Love those ties. They're bawdy, they're bold, and they're Rush. And I love them. Hey, when we come back, it's not too early to be talking about the field for 28. Rahm Emanuel is making some waves. We'll talk about that.
I think that's exciting.
Back with more in just a moment on Wake Up Missouri with Randy, Peter, in for Stephanie, John, and Drake.
on my TV.
There we go.
That's Bill Maher talking with Rahm Emanuel, and suddenly Rahm Emanuel is all over the cable. He's on Bill, he's on CNN all the time. And, you know, yeah, last time I checked, Peter Thiel in for Stephanie Bell, it's 2025, and people might say it's too early to be talking about 2028, but it's never too early because there's a constant electoral cycle in this country, and people are thinking about it, and Rahm Emanuel is thinking about it. I'm telling you.
Well, there's a lot of people thinking of running for president. Now, the idea is that the Republicans have been in the wilderness before, just like the Democrats are now. And so the deal is, the problem with the Democratic Party is they are not democratic. They've gone out of their way to they've gone completely out of their way to predetermine from their executive committee who the nominee is. If you look at Biden, it was chosen by the suits, not by the people.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris was chosen by the suits, not by the people. Barack Obama's reelection by the suits, not by the people, which is general. But really, if you look at 2008, everything was put in to choose Obama in 2008. The Democrats have very rarely had a strong electoral system. In fact, the Democrats went out of their way to behead the campaign of Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders was well on his way, and all of a sudden the Democrats, sitting up in the big offices said, "Oh, we can't have somebody like that. We'll lose."
Right.
So it was not the people that made the decision. It was the people at the top of the party. And that party has been very autocratic with how they do so many things. It's just so true.
So,
well, Rahm Emanuel, he's going to face a primary challenge with J.B. Pritzker. You know, I don't think he can beat Pritzker in the primary. So I think it's a whole lot of much ado about nothing.
You think so?
Already.
I don't know. I think that he may end up facing an AOC or maybe even this guy in the primary.
My administration would be Donald Trump's worst nightmare. And you don't need to take me at my word or take Andrew Cuomo at his. You need to only look at the actions of the Trump administration since I won the Democratic primary.
Okay, so
that's
Mom Donnie. That's Zofran. Zofran. For those of you who know, Zofran is the trade name of the anti-nausea drug. So his name is Zoran, but I call him Zofran. Zofran Mamdani. And because he makes me nauseated to think that this guy could actually... He smiles
really well, though.
Oh, my gosh. You going to do... Oh, look at that. Peter's doing his Mamdani smile. The guy has a charismatic skill and talent that is rarely seen. You cannot deny that. We're seeing some of the high-profile people on the left. Pocahontas came out the other day, absolutely full-throated behind him. Hakeem Jeffries, Schumer, the others are keeping at arm's length. But I think
Buttigieg still talking about it.
Yep, more and more and more, though. This guy and people like him, AOC, define the Democrat Party. But that's for them to get nominated. But a guy like Emanuel, couldn't he tack to the left to win the nomination? Because this guy probably not. AOC probably not. There's enough people. There's enough left-center Democrats that are not going to go for this, right?
Well,
but then they always the history of every electoral party is you run to the extreme to get the nomination, and then you run back to the center in the general, right?
Well, here's the thing: is that we now live in a world where it's all or nothing.
Yeah.
Where politicians will go completely out of their way. If you actually look historically at who becomes the president of the United States in our country, and recent history. Look the other way. It's either vice presidents or governors. Obama was the first U.S. senator to be elected for president in, I think, 80, 90 years. It is governors, vice presidents, with in the last 100 years, obviously, Trump and Eisenhower being a little different. Mm. But if you go down that list, it is vice presidents and governors.
Don't you think, though, more and more with our 24-hour news cycle, with the sensationalism that we see coming across social media, the amount of out there you need to be, no matter who you are, to make a splash, to get someone's attention, starting with Bill Clinton and his saxophone on the Arsenio Hall show, with some exceptions, George Bush being a governor, Biden was a reaction to Trump. people have had meteoric rise because of their celebrity. Donald Trump, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton. And I just think
Ronald
now
Reagan.
Americans, I think more and more are looking for celebrity and personality rather than policy and substance and experience.
But I will tell you is that policy and substance are some of the lowest reasons anybody gets elected to any office. Most people are elected to office because there's somebody that they relate to them. We have all seen people that you go, oh, what a great candidate.
Yeah.
It's I'll give you a perfect example. It's Bill who ran for governor last time around.
Bill Eigel.
Oh, Bill Eigel. Yeah,
Bill
yeah,
Eigel.
yeah.
Okay, policy-wise, yeah, pretty good. But you'd meet him, and it was not something that bowled you over.
Yeah.
You didn't meet him and go, wow, I feel like that guy is speaking for me. It's you may like his policies, but it was not overwhelmed by personality. Mike Kehoe, the governor, is not captain personality, but he connects with you. You felt like you connect with him every time.
He's warm and engaging. Yes,
Correct.
That's right. Yes.
And that has more to do with anything else. And the other thing is how a candidate presents themselves on screen and on air. Videos online. Video is them being interviewed, how they interact, that is such an important thing. And I would love it if people just chose policy. They don't. And anyone sits there and says, oh, well, this is such a good candidate because I love their policy stuff. Okay, that's great, but good luck. If the candidate has no personality, if the candidate is not engaging, if the candidate is not considered somebody that people automatically are drawn to.
The more I would agree with you in general, but I think that it's less true the further you are towards the extremes of the ideology, right? So if you're really hardcore progressive woke, I think you are more policy engaged. If you're more in the middle, maybe I'm wrong, but I think
there are policy people who there are geeks that are policy in all ranges. They pay attention throughout the spectrum.
But they're the minority, you say.
I just think that what people end up voting for is they end up voting for somebody they connect with. You saw, I can still remember, 2004. Obama, that was his debut on a national stage. He spoke at the Democratic National Convention.
There are no blue states. There are no red states.
My parents were very big conservative activists, very much involved in politics their entire lives. And I remember being on the phone with my mom that night, and she just said, oh, boy, look out for this guy.
Yeah.
This guy is the future of the Democratic Party. I mean, it was just... You could just see it in the charisma and the way he presented himself, and for Republicans, they have to have that next step post-Trump, and obviously J.D. Vance is very much involved with whatever that step is, and I think that would be terrific. But there's going to be other Republicans that'll be rising up, and in the Democratic Party, they have a tremendous leader. A wonderful governor who has jazz hands, and his name is Tim Walz. And he's running for president with his wonderful wife with her googly eyes.
Oh, man. I tell you, that is Walz the
then
way.
Why in the polling is Kamala still at the top of the list for 2028?
Well, here's why, is that no one's really thinking about it. And the hardcore Democrat voters, that's the one they know that is running. And there's some thoughts that she was given a raw deal and that Biden should have bowed out, 18 months before the election.
Raw deal. She was given something she didn't deserve. She didn't have to earn it. They could have done a primary, and they would have actually had a real candidate.
Correct. Well,
and Trump would have been in trouble.
Yeah, well, that, you see, having a primary would have been a real big deal. But if Biden would have dropped out 18 months earlier, Kamala would have been campaigning with whoever the Democrats, other candidates the Democrats put up.
Yeah.
And if she got the nomination, great. If she didn't, great.
It would have been perceived as more legit come general time. Yeah.
It's but when you have the Democratic establishment saying, "Oh, you're going to vote for this candidate or that candidate," that doesn't help.
Yeah, you're right. We're going to have Jill Schluty. Chief Schluty is going to be in the studio with us at 7:35, And I suspect we have a couple of things to talk about. Primarily among those are the new stance of the Columbia Police Department regarding how to get at this rising rate of gun crimes right in the heart of the city, really tearing up business districts.
There's no gun crimes. There's people committing crimes using guns. It's
well, let's just say shootings that are hurting people, sometimes innocent people standing by. And they're trying a new strategy, and apparently there's been a little pushback, and city council men and women asking questions about him. She has responded to the council. We'll have her respond to the Wake Up family and talk about that. And I'd like to know just more about the criminal justice aspect of that type of a policy. Where's
and
it
this
working?
is happening all over the state. This is happening all over Missouri, where a bunch of kids get together, and it's just a natural behavior that they have, and bingo, that's what happens.
And we see that. So she'll be with us, and then I'd like to talk with her further about the academy that they brought in-house now downtown. And then I understand it's really having some successful recruiting and retention values there. And maybe we can talk about the budget. And gosh, I wish we could lobby for more money for that police department. But she'll be in studio. So we're gonna listen to John's segment right after a little break here. John, what'll be coming up?
Would your kid know what the Yellow Pages are?
Yes,
no.
That's a good one. Oh, boy. Talk about...
Your 40-year-old doesn't know what they are.
Talk about aging us. Yeah. We'll be back at 7:24. Stay tuned.
You're listening.
Except for this.
A mom decided to test her daughter on common items and trends from the 1990s, offering her money if she got a passing grade. 40-year-old Michelle Godfrey's daughter, Juliana, is 11. And from Generation Alpha, the generation born between 2010 and 2025, Godfrey promised her if she got a passing grade, she would give her $100. But she said, I knew my money was safe because most of what I asked her, she's never had to use or even heard of in her lifetime. They put it up on TikTok, viewed 5 million times, and Godfrey began by asking Juliana if she knew what the Yellow Pages are. She said something to do with the Wizard of Oz, like the Yellow Brick Road.
Wow.
Then she asked her daughter about Sega, which she thought was a type of a drink. A rotary phone, which she thought of a phone you used if you got lost along the side of the road.
Oh, my.
And a cassette tape, which she said was similar to duct tape. She did know a Walkman played CDs.
Oh.
And that Stretch Armstrong was a little wrestler toy. Some folks posted on YouTube, I was laughing until I realized I'm so old. One commenter pointed out, Juliana had asked Mom if she could get a jelly cat instead of $100, but not knowing what a jelly cat is, that's today's Beanie Babies. And one more person posted, I told her to go out, get out a little, take her to an antique store and teach her, and Godfrey says, we own an antique store. And now you know the rest of that story.
Holy cow.
You see, I grew up, my mom had an antique store. And so I can walk into one right now and break down every era breakdown just out of osmosis. And I can go in and say, oh, yeah, that's not really an antique.
How do people who run those stores actually value things? How do they evaluate those things and price them? Because, I mean, I guess pawn shop have references, right? Similar kind of reference manuals, or you just
probably
shoot from the
now
hip?
More than ever. Back in the day when my mom was running a store, probably not. Essentially, my mom would go and try to hit yard sales and estate sales in rural places. So she would go and we'd be 40 miles out and going and hitting those things. So my mom was basically searching for antiques that needed to be refinished.
I see.
That was sort of her jam. So, and she was a big fan of primitives. And primitives were, made individually, really before industrialization in the late 1800s. And so she really understood that. I can go and break those down real quick. Now, most of the furniture, here's a little thing for you guys. And you may remember this, Randy. Do you know who made the furniture back before there was really sort of a mass production of furniture?
Well, there were communities, the Shakers and others made it.
Coffin makers?
Yeah, John Marsh is on it. Your mortician was, in a small town mortician. And you remember that guy, Mr. Feeney, you hung out with?
Mr. Feeney,
that
Senator
Randy,
Kennedy's long lost cousin.
Yes, that was the
That was a
mortician.
resident cabinet maker, right?
And he made really, once you've made a few coffins and no one's died in a small town, what do? You got to make a living somehow. Better start making some furniture. So a lot of those guys, those small towns, the furniture store was right next to the mortuary run by the same family.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? Yeah, I guess well, come to think about it, in the town up there in Memphis, Missouri, where I was running the hospital, that right on the town square, there was a furniture store, and connected, owned by the same family, was the funeral parlor.
Yeah.
Well, a funeral parlor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, there you go.
Yeah, of course, they're all buying their stuff now made, and it's just a small,
Correct. Yeah, back in the day. So I can walk in and take a look at furniture and break it down really quick.
But were they in the Yellow Pages? That's really
that was pre-Yellow Pages when those things were made. That's it's even older than that.
That's wild.
Even older than Randy.
When you tell these stories, though, it does bring you back to. I remember when the first PCs came out, and remember how you had to load your program on with a floppy disk and all that. It was just we had almost like a Rolodex, of floppy disks and all that stuff. It's amazing how the technology. I mean, it accelerates. I mean, where we are today is going to look nothing like where we are in 10 years. I'm going to be unbelievable. Well. Criminality and reining it in, we hope, will look totally different in Columbia and Jefferson City and Moberly and Springfield and Fulton. We'll talk with Chief Jill Schluty about that when we come back at 7:35.
Has America been fair to Donald Trump?
support a federal takeover of Washington, D.C., as the president has suggested?
Yeah, that is a decision for the president. And I think that what the president was saying is that we're seeing far too much crime being committed by young people, 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, that I can't get my hands on. I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of the pictures, but, young people are coddled, and they don't need to be coddled anymore.
That's Judge Janine, now the U.S. Attorney for D.C., Janine Pirro, talking about President Trump bringing in the National Guard. Who knows what, but he wants to make sure that law and order reigns in D.C. with the outbreak of crime. So it's a tale of two cities, this segment on Wake Up Missouri. Welcome in. I'm Randy Tobler. Peter is in for Stephanie, who's on assignment. We've got Drake, of course, on the board, and John Marsh. And we're very pleased and privileged to have Chief Jill Schluty in from the Columbia Police Department. Chief of Police Jill is with us, and you can see her on the camera. She's not on the camera. That's perfect. Well, okay, Jill, you got to slide over because people want to see you. There we go. There we go. There we go. Now look at this. We've got a. Don't mess with Jill. Just don't mess with Chief Jill. There she is, and we'll get her on the camera there. And you got that going there, Drake? No? Okay.
Well, it's okay.
It's okay. So now we can talk directly with you. We wanted to touch base on this story that I saw yesterday, and I led with it. And I got in touch with you, and I said, this should be the number one story, because if a city isn't safe, if business people don't feel safe, if their customers don't feel safe, a city collapses, or at least it doesn't expand. And so we have an expanding city, a great place to live, but a lot of crime. We hear about it. We report about it all the time. You have implemented a new strategy, and I'd like you to tell us the genesis of the strategy, the why, the what, and a little bit of the pushback. We'll talk about that too.
Sure.
Welcome in.
Oh, thank you. Good morning. So really, this is a response, and I kind of just dusted off something that we've done for years. Mm-hmm. I'm getting ready to hit my 20th year with the police department in October. So this is not a new strategy, really. It's just something we've been able to re-implement due to staffing. Mm-hmm. Staffing has been kind of the bane of our existence for the past decade almost. And more recently, we've been able to staff more people, which means more officers on, which means we can be more proactive, which is really the goal. So going downtown, we used to have a downtown unit. Probably, we were trying to guesstimate. We think the downtown unit went away around 2017 or 2018. And that was due to staffing. It wasn't because it wasn't successful and important, because it really was.
A dedicated unit.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So you had a group of officers and a sergeant that just worked downtown. They had great relationships with the businesses, especially the bars. Mm-hmm. They would do training for people that worked in the bars. Wow. So if there was an issue, they knew exactly who to go to and talk to, and it really helped kind of keep a lid on things to a certain degree. And so when that went away, you really are just relying on the couple beat officers that are assigned to the downtown district, and then anybody you can get to come in when bar close happens. I forwarded you the response that I sent to the council. We're really trying to move also towards data-driven policing. Mm-hmm. So using the data that we have to the best of our ability to say what is going on, when and where, and what does that mean for deployment of resources. So in the case of downtown, over the past 18 months, the shots fired or shootings incidents, so someone that has been shot or we know a gun was fired, 11 times, I believe, over the past 18 months. So we looked at those, and the vast majority of those are occurring after 1:30 in the morning. So what does that tell us? It's not while the restaurants and bars are open. It's after everything's over, and we're having a lot of people hanging out downtown. And another interesting piece was what's precipitating a lot of these incidents is large disturbances or fights. Mm-hmm. And then people are coming in with firearms, and it's escalating.
Well, you're dealing with people, a lot of these people are between like 15 and 22, somewhere around there. Is that where it is?
Unfortunately, that's the trending age, yes, downward.
Yes, and so you're dealing with young men who are, they have testosterone, they don't know how to manage it. You're dealing with groups of friends where even a slight thing can cause a beef, and all of a sudden somebody is strapped and they pull something out and they start shooting, and that's their first response.
And I also think something that has been lacking is when you can't have a presence, when you can't have enough officers to be somewhere. If I'm a prohibited person, which is a felon, so if I'm a felon and I'm not supposed to be in possession of a firearm, I have a greater degree of comfort if there's less police officers downtown, right?
Yeah.
And if we can't proactively go out and enforce things, my comfort level goes up, as evidenced by some of the videos we're seeing where a shots fired happens and you see multiple people running from the scene with guns in their hands. And some of them we've identified on video. We know they're felons. So we have to get things back to the point where you feel like there is a degree of risk that you are going to get caught with a gun if you're a felon, because chances are we're going to try to take that case federally.
And this issue is happening all over the state of Missouri. It's happening all over the country. And again, it's just, I look back when I was like 17, 16 years old. You would get together with your crew, and there would be places where people your age hung out. This is not a new activity.
Sure.
There's nothing new about this at all. Here, what has changed is that people are strapped more than when I was a kid, and they have their guns with them, and they're not scared to pull them out and use them. That's our problem.
Yeah, very indiscriminately in some cases.
Yes.
So you described sort of a time window that these things seem to cluster around, but there's also a geographic focus, and now we have an age focus too, right? So you sort of have a bead on where these things escalate, right?
Yes.
And so that's the diagnosis. What's the prescription?
So rather than waiting until we have 300-400 people blocking the street, blocking the sidewalk, a whole street party going on, we are trying to intervene earlier and start talking about the lower level things that are going on. And I want to be clear, this isn't about writing every single person a ticket that's breaking some, obscure city ordinance downtown.
And in the letter to the council, you said that we're not giving a citation, we're giving a lot of warnings
yes,
too. I mean,
yes.
it's case by case.
Voluntary compliance is always our first goal, right? But when you have officers in the street telling people repeatedly, get out of the street, get out of the street, get out of the street, and they're being ignored, eventually a supervisor is going to show up and say, hey, we've given enough warnings. And so that's what happened in this case. And I want to point out, too, this strategy really started around the beginning of June. That was the last major incident we had downtown.
Yes.
And so our night shift lieutenant got together with our folks and just said, hey, let's start digging into this. We need to get 5 or 6 officers down here at bar close, and even before that, to try to intervene early and really just start addressing things.
Was that where the bystander got injured?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're talking about towing cars, newsflash, don't park on private property where it says don't park here because we're going to get towed. So ticketing, minor in possession, that I think is going to ramp up significantly here in about the next 7 days downtown. Just one of those things where we have to be present and we have to use the tools that we have to kind of intervene in these situations.
And so my comment and my glee over this, I think when I got in touch with you, I gave you like 6 clap emojis. Because to me, I've maintained, whether it's the criminality that we hear about when people are murdering or raping, and when Brian Hauswirth reports on their rap sheets, it's a miles long, and I keep saying, why don't someone hasn't been taught while their brains are developing by either a parent, a principal, a teacher, a cop, like there are rules, you need to follow the rules, that's the way we learn, is by when we're kids, right? We poop in our pants, and our mom says at some point, don't do that, right? Or else we'd keep pooping in our pants. And so, to me, if we move back the accountability and move it down the ladder, maybe people will understand. Hey, there's laws, and there's a reason for those laws, and it's a culture of law abiding rather than just complacency. They're not going to enforce it. Whatever. I think that has larger community implications. Do I have my rose-colored glasses on or not?
No, and I'll tell you. So, Stop Day is a great example, right?
Yeah.
So we try to keep that as safe in as event as we can, not super pleased about its existence, but you can't stop 5,000 people from doing anything, really. Right. I mean, if I had 100 cops, that would still be difficult.
Sure.
Drake's cheering back here.
Was he part of the problem?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Thank you. Thank you, Chief Schluty, for allowing us to know what the problem is, and it's our producer.
I saw more than one journalism person when I was down there. I was down there this year again. And I'll say, so as an example, we can't write every person we see an open container ticket. This is one of the things I see coming up online. Well, why don't we do this? You can't catch all the fish. It's not possible. So if we write a few MIP tickets or a few open container tickets, a lot of times people go, oh, I probably don't want to be out in the street with an open container. You hear officers telling people like, hey, you need to stay in the yard, you need to stay on private property. And I actually fielded calls from parents who were upset because their kids got tickets for having open containers. Well, why did my kid get a ticket and no one else did? Well, we can't catch all 5,000 people, right? But some people are going to get tickets and some people aren't.
What is it with the parents defending their kids?
My parents did not defend me.
No. When I did creepy stuff, I did a lot of creepy stuff, Chief. Nothing terrible. But
I hope the statute of limitations is up, or we shouldn't talk about it.
We're having a great conversation with Chief Jill Schluty of the Columbia Police Department, of course, leading. It literally is herding cats. I mean, come on. I'm Randy Tobler with Peter Thiel in for Stephanie, John Marsh, and Drake Whitman. John, I know you wanted to get in with a question there.
Yeah, Chief, it sounds like the officers are obviously going to be focused on the late night angle. You said minor in possession and unlawful gatherings and all that. What about the other side of it, the folks who, Columbia residents who aren't downtown that time of night, but they have real challenges with inappropriate behavior by homeless folks in that area? Are officers going to be able to address that in a similar fashion?
So they're two similar but different, problems that we're dealing with, right? But again, you have to look at the tools you have in your toolbox. I had a great meeting with my staff yesterday about, one of the other challenges we have is recruiting's going great, which is positive.
We're going to talk about that.
But we have a huge number of officers who probably have less than 3 years of service. So talking to officers about, hey, here's the things you can do. Here's some of the things you can try to use to get voluntary compliance out of anybody. But with the homeless population in particular, we get a lot of calls. Obviously, trespassing is really high. We put our the trespass letter of enforcement that businesses can fill out. We got that put online. So we're trying to make that process easier for people. But really looking at, it's great that we try to connect people with resources. The homeless outreach team does that. We're going to put 2 more cops in that team later this year. But they can't do everything. And so the officers that are in the beats are encountering folks in just about every beat of the city at this point, I would say. And so we're going to have to figure out ways to address things like littering, things like open container, things like other things that are contributing to, I think, the ongoing issue that we're having and create that level of risk, that you're going to get caught.
You're sending a message, just like Giuliani sent a message when he cleaned up New York, right? In a way, it's like if you're going to crawl on someone's windshield and wipe it off and expect to get paid, you're going to get ticketed, and crime overall went down.
Well, what you permit is what you promote, right?
Okay, what you permit is what you promote. Can you hang with us?
Yes.
All right. We really appreciate it. When we come back, we're going to talk about temp tags. I know you guys want to know about temp tags. It's Jill's favorite topic.
It is not my favorite
and
topic.
Homeless, and about the staffing and the new academy. Stay tuned.
This is Wake Up Missouri.
Welcome back into Wake Up Missouri. We're talking with Chief of Police Jill Schluty with Columbia Police, and there's new approaches. More bodies are needed if you're going to be, Jill, as you discussed in last segment. You're going to be, giving citations, warnings, letting people know that, hey, lower level offenses, that's not kosher. We're not going to let you get away with that in an attempt to reduce the escalating shootings and so forth. But it takes bodies to do that, and then to go and answer domestic dispute things and other more violent type things that have already escalated. How are you going to get enough bodies? How's that going? We know there's been a deficit in your staffing up till now. Is it getting better?
So as of today, this afternoon, I'm going to hire 4 more people. Wow. And so our next academy, our in-house academy class, will start September 1st.
Cool.
And we will have a record 17 officers in that academy. So class 1 was 14. We had 8 in this class that's currently going on, and then we're going to have 17 in the next class, which after today, that means I'll be down to 4 vacancies.
Wow.
So
down from what, like 40 at one point?
Close to 40,
yeah.
Yes.
And the academy was brought from MU to in-house when? Last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So that's been a great success.
I think it's worked really well for us. I think it's helped people feel like they're part of the organization earlier on. And I think it has helped us get folks trained on how we do policing here in Columbia.
Chief, you alluded to training those new young officers on the homeless situation and all. I guess a question to you would be the Opportunity Campus with a 125-bed shelter set to open next year. Is that going to be a positive or a negative for your department in regard to the potential of it attracting more homeless to the area?
Well, I try to be a glass half full person, which is challenging in my position sometimes, honestly. But that I think you're going to have increased folks over there. I think a lot of it's going to depend on how that organization decides they're going to police themselves. Preliminary conversations we had with them, I think they indicated they were going to have some of their own on-site security, which would be helpful to us. Mm-hmm. What are their house rules going to be? Can you camp in the parking lot? Like all these different kind of unknowns that we have at this point. But again, I think it's our job to set the tone for what are we going to permit here in Columbia, right? So if you're going to be allowed to just walk out into traffic, or I actually saw a guy on my way here this morning on the side of the connector just throwing trash over the side of it, which littering is one of my top 3 pet peeves. Mm-hmm. We can't let those things go on. If you start enforcing some of the smaller things, I think you start saying, hey, here's what's okay in this community, here's what's not okay.
It's a permissive atmosphere.
It is. And so, not really in defense of, but in defense of my cops, when there's 10 of them working, they don't have time to deal with that. And so we're trying to get them back in the kind of the groove of proactivity. You've seen this with traffic enforcement, right? Mm-hmm. So we did a big operation on Scott Boulevard a couple weeks ago, and people were like, oh my gosh, I got everything from thank you, you're the best, to, you're the devil's stepdaughter, why aren't you doing something else? And I get it. That's like classic Columbia, right? Totally understand that. But, you brought up temp tags.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I will repeat this probably till the day I die. We pull people over for expired registration.
Here you go.
We do it. Now, we can't keep them from continuing to drive around with that tag on their car. Right. They're going to keep doing it. And if you
Can't you impound it?
No. So that Springfield passed a law that does allow you to do that. We don't do that here. I think the law change next year with the taxes will really help.
Yes.
But right now, it's cheaper just to keep paying the $50 or whatever dollar ticket than it is to go pay your taxes and license your car. So we're trying. We did almost 2,000 traffic stops in the month of July. So
it's happening. You can't be everywhere all the time, but you can be when you see it. Not only say something, we'll say something, you'll do something about it. Chief Jill Schluty, thank you for your candor. Thank you for your new approach, and congrats on the success.
Thanks.
With those recruiting numbers. That's
I've got a great team.
I know you do, and I tell them every time I see them. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Jill Flutie. We do appreciate her. All of the officers in every jurisdiction that are doing one tough job in a society where that freedom part of the libertarian mantra that defines our country has somehow taken dominion over the other side of that teeter-totter, which is responsibility.
Yes.
That's the problem. I think everyone's fine with, hey, I want to do what I want to do, you what you want to do. That part is great. But suddenly when what I want to do infringes on what I want to do, somehow people have lost that's where the line stops. That's where my freedom ends, is where your freedom begins. Right?
Yes.
And we have to be careful. I think on a lot of people, Peter Thiel in for Stephanie Bell, along with John Marsh and Drake Whitman, I think people have lost that responsibility part of the equation, and that's why we're in a heap lot of trouble in our blue communities right here in Columbia and others, right?
Yeah, well, if you look at what's going on around the state and you look around what's going on, is that people like to find excuses. We now live in a society where we celebrate victimhood online.
Yep.
And if you look at YouTube channels or whatever, they're big things, there's somebody saying, oh, something bad happened to me. Whoa!
Yeah,
I can't wait to watch this.
Well, it's one of those kind of things, and maybe we should ask Chief about it. Was she talked about Columbia's PD and how back in the day they did the outreach and worked very closely with bar owners and all. I remember doing the bouncer thing in Columbia, and the cops would come in and, do a quick thing and say, okay, you're a bouncer here. Your primary thing is to check IDs and make sure underage people aren't drinking. But you are kind of tasked with keeping the environment safe and ejecting people if they got too rowdy or started fights and all. And sometimes that was easier said than done.
Yes,
You had to go get the 6'5" guy from the back of the house to have him throw them out.
Well,
but that may be an issue that's as much as the PD stepping up and writing open container tickets and public gathering stuff. Maybe revisit how the bars employ bouncers.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's got to be one of the very tough jobs, is to be a bouncer, to be someone that's a tough line to walk. You don't really have that official authority and credential, but yet you're held accountable for some kind of, safety, public safety in a way,
and
right?
Every punk kid wants to fight you when you call them on their fake ID.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of bars and a lot of restaurants have employed off-duty officers. And so I know a lot of off-duty police officers who do these off-duty gigs, and they do the bar, they do the concert, they do the, certain things where there's a lot going on, and bouncers at whatever club. It's always better when you have an off-duty cop there, because they just know certain things that you don't. Most bouncers are just big guys who are tough, who some of them desire to be punched, and so they punch somebody.
And you hear the occasional story where the club owner, the attendees there, the patrons are thankful that there's an off-duty cop, because sometimes they have to use deadly force and put an end to an incident, right? So I'm thankful when I see an off-duty cop there.
It's and then afterwards people go to Waffle House and wait for the fights. I think it's great.
You need to have a Waffle House YouTube video, a channel. I think that's what you need to do.
I have a T-shirt.
Really? Oh,
my sister, my sister gave it to me for my birthday a few years ago. I wear it on. I'm very careful of when I wear it, mainly because it's a classy shirt.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
classy.
Waffle House. I mean, that's where the elite meet to eat, after all.
Yes.
Now, Brad has an interesting comment, and we ran out of time with the chief, but maybe we have a periodic conversation with her. We ask her about this, and it's probably a dicey issue, but you can make all the arrests you want. You can write all the citations that you want. But at some point, there's upstream, from that may not be doing their job, right? And those are the prosecuting attorneys and the judges. Because you can, as Brad says, if the PAs for Boone County did their job, it would tremendously help with this. I encourage any journalist to look and see how many people are given SIS or SES for felony crimes, and ask if misdemeanor is the issue. It's great CPD is doing this and fully support, but when it becomes wasted efforts because of the prosecuting attorneys, well, I don't know that we should blame it on the prosecuting attorneys. I don't know enough about the nuts and bolts of this, but aren't the judges part and parcel of that system to determine when the cop makes the arrest and says, you broke the ordinance, you broke the law, What happens? Why do things get soft upstream from that or downstream?
I think that a lot of times you have, especially in cities that are a little more liberal, you end up having judges and people who pursue that who are there for quote unquote justice for people who have been historically compromised. And so all of a sudden they go, and all of a sudden you say, it's only a lad, and he didn't mean it, and he'll not do it again. And again, as things go out, the longer you allow someone to continue breaking laws and breaking rules, they will keep pushing it further and further a lot of the time.
You're so right. I mean, when we began the conversation with Jill, something you said caught my attention. That was, I think you said, well, these kids, they're dumb. They don't know what they're doing a lot of time.
There's testosterone.
So it's the judge that needs to temper that and begin to tell them, your testosterone got you in trouble. Next time, if we give you a next time, after you fill some potholes for a week, think it through, buddy.
Yeah.
Is that happening regularly? Because that's pruning those neurons. That's connecting those neurons. That's
Correct.
called growing up. But you need an authority figure to do that.
Yes, and again, testosterone is a heck of a deal. It is a wonderful thing. It allows men and now women who want to be men to be fearless, to go out and go to war, be that person who goes into a firefighter that goes into a burning building. Testosterone is an amazing gift, is an amazing thing. And for most men, it's learning how to and going out and figuring out how to manage the testosterone.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people who make a lot of stupid mistakes when puberty kicks in and all that stuff because they don't know how to handle it going in. And then they turn 40 and then they take a pill and all of a sudden they get the testosterone of an 18-year-old again, and then they go off and do something stupid.
You're so right. I mean, it's like most things in life, right? There's a positive and a negative side. There's polarity to almost everything. People that have a gift of this or that, sometimes there's a negative side to that, and I think you're right. You have to learn to manage that very strong steroid. Yeah, John.
I thought a takeaway from the chief was, kind of reading between the lines on this. She said they're going to be very measured in writing open container tickets. They're going to give a lot of warnings and all. Sounds more like the whole emphasis of this, putting a lot more guys in blue downtown at those high traffic hours, maybe where people will think twice before the cops have to give them that warning.
Right, and that's why the unanswered question, because there are never enough cops, when there is this going to be a whack-a-mole thing? So if they've identified that a certain group of people at a certain age at a certain time like to congregate at, 9th and Walnut or whatever, well, that group of people is going to find out, better avoid that. Let's go down to 8th and Broad.
No, it will move to a different place. There's no question about it. But when the police go through there and they begin to sort of, that will all of a sudden break things up
at an earlier stage.
And once people have a certain amount of chemicals in their body, a lot of times if all of a sudden a beef has happened and there's a fight or two, that's where the problems happen. So it's the police being there early and just patrolling through, and they don't necessarily need to break it up. If the kids are just hanging out and there's nothing bad going on, that's fine. But if all of a sudden they are breaking any type of noise ordinance or anything like that, well, the officer goes in, turn down your stereo.
I think that's the tagline that will be among many that might be Chief Jill's legacy, which is you promote what you permit. And I think that really tells a big story. You promote what you permit. And eventually, if the word travels like wildfire among these social groups, right? People connect and they talk and they're like, you know what? It's just not fun. Their definition of fun. Yeah. It's just not fun to be in Columbia anymore because, we just can't hang out like we used to. And then,
No, so like Peter talking about Waffle House and Waffle House in Columbia's reputation for deadly shootings and all that. And, it's not just after hours, but it's a thing where people congregate. And like Peter said, cops lean on them too hard here, they'll move there.
Yeah. Okay, Dale says it's not the judges. The prosecutor has admitted he cannot get Boone County juries to convict. We actually have some tough judges here. Okay, you're right. What's wrong with the judges, with the juries? What's wrong with you guys out there? Well, maybe they're picked randomly, right? And come to think of it, yeah, most of the woke progressives aren't working. They can be the juries. They can't.
Yeah,
they
that's
can't,
right.
Sorry, forgot that. Yeah, and that's going to get me in big trouble.
Have you ever been a juror in a crime or something like that?
No.
I was on a grand jury probably about 20 years ago. And it was 3 capital murder cases. I mean, it was a whole list of stuff that it went through. And it was an interesting group because it was, a group of 18.
Mm-hmm.
There were 12 women and 6 men.
Mm-hmm.
And how men looked at things, there's a statutory rape case.
Wow.
And all the women blamed the victim.
What?
And
whoa. Let's rewind that.
Yes.
A rape case.
Statutory rape case.
I assume the victim was a woman.
Yeah, the victim was.
And the women blamed the victim?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
So it was a guy, it was a 21-year-old kid was
Holy cow.
was in the middle of enjoying, shall we say, the delights of a romantic rendezvous.
Okay.
And in the middle of it, she announced she was 14.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
And so the guy stopped immediately.
Yeah.
She called the cops because he gave her booze.
Mm-hmm.
And so it got in there. All the guys voted to prosecute the 21-year-old.
Yeah.
And all the women said, no, she shouldn't have had herself in that situation.
Wow. Interesting.
And so, again, if you sit on a grand jury, it's an interesting thing because you're not there to whether someone's guilty or not. You're there to choose whether there's enough evidence to prosecute.
I see.
And,
on a
and
grand
it's
jury.
very easy for the grand jury to all of a sudden become the,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, the trial jury at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dale, thank you for reminding us that the judge can do all they can to, lay out the law. And if the jury decides to go soft, well, that's the jury's fault. Interesting comments. Thank you for that. When we come back, the Market Report, the Morning Bell with Peter, who's in for Stephanie.
You're listening
8:25 ahead of the markets. It's time for the morning bell with Peter.
All right. Well, early futures, by the way, for both Dow Jones and NASDAQ and S&P 500 are up modestly. The futures are up. Bitcoin down by $723 per coin. Dogecoin is up. Sheepcoin is up.
Oh, my.
Ethereum down. and a couple of things is I'm really excited about. McDonald's, of course, is going to be releasing their new adult Happy Meals, bringing back nostalgic characters for everyone to go and enjoy. So, it's coming back after, and I think it's great. It's going to be the McDonald Land guys. We're going to have all the different stuff going on. I'm excited.
What do you want? You want a Grimace or a Ronald McDonald character, Drake, in your meal?
I'll take either. I think Ronald McDonald is the GOAT and the best clown that's ever existed. But I was going to go on the crypto route because Peter actually got me to invest like $7 in crypto.
It's the type of bad influence I am.
He's such a bad influence.
He's contributing to your delinquency there. Oh, my goodness.
Yes, and I am going to go murder and rape women after this.
Profligate spending. Next thing you know, you'll be spending whatever savings you have at the boat, and you'll be destitute in the homeless
camp.
And
now our man Drake goes to that Walnut and 9th in Columbia where they have all the shootings and stuff. He struts around there like he's a yard boss in jail.
Well,
it's strong.
Well, I'm up $3 because of Bitcoin and all that. So I think I'm going to use that to get a face tattoo to get the delinquency going.
I like that.
It's live it and be there. Nancy Pelosi stock trader is Pelosi Tracker _ on the X, and kind of an exciting buy by Debbie Wasserman Schultz. She just filed to buy a new stock, $15,000 worth of eChore Holdings, trading under ICHR. Yesterday, this particular stock was up 8%. Up 8% yesterday. It is trading under what it was not that long ago. I mean, there's a great opportunity for you to go and really get a great return if you follow what our Congress people do.
I don't know. So it's not just Pelosi, right? They're monitoring more.
Yeah, they're monitoring all sorts of different Congress people who are making these reports of which stocks they're buying.
Right and left?
Yes.
Okay, not just Wasserman and Pelosi, but I mean...
Correct. Marjorie Taylor Greene made some buys a few weeks ago. She bought Netflix, among other stocks.
If you were to buy that basket of those buys, would that be any better than the S&P? An index
Nancy
fund?
Pelosi outperforms a lot of hedge funds.
Okay.
I mean, it's this is a pretty good way to go. I'm thinking I may buy some of these ICHR stock. I may buy some shares later on today.
She doesn't have any insider information, though. She's just a wise stock trader.
No. She doesn't trade any stocks. It's her husband. Yes.
They don't share any of the
No. There's no pillow talk. With the Pelosi's. Do we really want to think of pillow talk between the Pelosi's? I don't, but that's me.
By the way, did he ever have any permanent damage from that beating he took? I mean, he really took a brutal beating from that idiot.
Must have had some brain damage. He stayed married to Nancy.
Yeah, it's love is a tangled web. Everybody is that sometimes people are attracted to opposites. And that, like with the story about the inmate with all the women after him, sometimes they want
point well taken.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Back with more Wake Up Missouri, and that means winners and losers when we come back in about 5. That time in the show where we ask you for winners and losers, 573-874-9390. Let's start with John Marsh. Who's on your list, John?
Let's see. I got a couple winners and a whole pack of losers. How about a winner? University of Missouri announcing football season tickets sold out for the second straight season. Opener August 28th against Central Arkansas. So we'll see you at the Tiger Tailgate out in front of Mizzou Arena.
Absolutely. That'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Another winner, the Stoners, have turned out to be the Missouri veterans' best friends. Veterans Commission says they got a check for almost $8 million from the sale of recreational marijuana, their share of it. And our pack of losers, Cole County taxpayers, some of you will pay 5% more in your taxes. The action taken by the Board of Equalization after they were directed to jack up the rates by the State Tax Commission. So,
gee. How much? What's the increase?
Some Cole County taxpayers, homeowners could see 5% more on the tax bill.
Did you see where I think it was the Platte County assessor said they're not going to they're not going to increase the assessments. There's a few counties in Missouri that apparently have gone rogue, and they're just not going to do it. Despite the tax commission saying you need to. You see that? I saw that story, and we hadn't talked about it much because no one locally or regionally has done that, nor in Springfield in that area. But I don't know how they can do that. I thought the tax commission laid out the rules, and they had to follow them.
Well, yeah, and we had Christopher Estes on recently, the outgoing Cole County assessor, who's had his share of ups and downs during his tenure with the county commissioners, and also talked about the state tax commission. You know, they're the body, and they make the recommendations back down the line to those assessors about what they would prefer that they do in regarding assessments and taxes.
Yeah, they're the guy. They're the Matthews of our time, right?
Yeah.
I know they're not the collectors, but they're the ones that send us the bill. Randy on the text line says, maybe not a winner. I think in fact a winner, Randy. I do think people that are out here working jobs they don't enjoy to make ends meet for their family, sometimes more than one job, deserve to be honored for working and not going the lazy route. Yeah, I think we can all agree those are winners, right? Thanks for that, Randy. 573-874-9390. Peter.
I have some winners and I have some losers.
Okay. Who you got?
I want to say I'm a big fan of road construction. And now that we have continuing construction throughout the state, I'm just a big fan. I'm a big fan of road construction.
You are? Yeah.
Yeah, it never ends. Yeah. It's something that goes through. They start a project. It seemingly never ends. And yet we're given the promise of sitting in traffic for hours on end for projects that no one's working on.
Can I...
I will tell you, too, Peter and Randy and John, that I am working on a story that no one else has regarding the I-70 project. Specifically, if you're a Mizzou football fan, you're going to learn something Monday. You won't hear anything else. I'll just keep it at that regarding traffic on I-70. I suggest if you're a Mizzou football fan or interested in you ride on I-70, you want to listen in on Monday morning.
Ah, okay.
I want to also give a loser.
Okay.
To anyone who's a season ticket holder of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Why is that?
Now, whoa. Why would I go there?
That should be a big winner. What do you mean?
Is that you have to pay for the preseason game. And there's one preseason game. It's Chiefs and Bears. And it's
the Bears.
And that team. Now, the good news for Chiefs season ticket holders, there is one good news. There's only one home game of the 3 preseason games.
What a blessing! Only one.
and I know everybody who's a Chiefs season ticket holder buys exactly what I just said because they know it's true.
Now, is that an opt-in thing?
No. It's part of the package.
Oh. So you have to buy that.
Yes.
You have to get the Bears ticket for one reason and one reason only. A man by the name of Luther Burden III.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
That's true.
Get a chance to see him, but I wasn't aware that was required. That is interesting.
Oh, it's if you speak to anybody as any season tickets for whether the Chiefs or any other team around the league, they all complain. They go, it's not even the starting players, and I have to pay for these damn things. Yeah. And I said, well, just don't do it. And they go, no, we got to be there for every game. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Brian, who do you have?
Well, I've got a couple. Great interview, by the way, Peter, Randy, and John with the police chief in Columbia. I thought that was very, very powerful. One of my winners of the week is going to be our Columbia police chief, Jill Schluty, answering all those questions, staying for multiple segments, and I know she's got to go downtown right now. I'm going to post that audio here just shortly, but I'm going to just repeat it. I want everybody to hear this, especially for those of you in the back of the room, because we have people that crime is down. Well, guess what, folks? Murders are up. They doubled in Columbia last year. They went from 7 to 14, and the chief herself just said, sustained escalating gun violence downtown in the last 18 months. 3 uninvolved bystanders have been shot. And she's got receipts. She handed them all to me, gave them to the council as well. So for you folks in the back of the room, that's huge.
She wrote a great letter that really had data. And she said she wants to run a data-driven strategy and tactic philosophy in the department. And the data is clear. Things are devolving, absolutely going backwards in terms of law and order. And it's interesting. It seems counterintuitive, but I think this low-level approach, along with, of course, going after the big stuff, I think this is going to pay dividends. Not tomorrow, not this weekend maybe, but it's going to happen. Over time, the message will get out. We're not going to promote what we permit anymore.
And not only exactly, and the fact she sat in here, that's the way to do it, and answered all your questions, multiple segments. It was fantastic radio, so great job. 2 other real quick winners. Pete Sorber, some of our sports fans will know I used to see Pete when I go visit mom and dad, 95 years old, won 10 national championships at Florissant Valley Community College. Just passed away. I would see him at Mass at St. Ferdinand in Florissant when I go see Dad. He just passed away, and his son is my age. His son was actually the captain of the U.S. World Cup and Florissant guy, but our condolences to his family. He was 95. And finally, the Missouri Rehabilitation Services for the Blind. They don't get a lot of attention, guys, but today they're going to be offering free vision screenings. Randy, you're a doctor. You know how important this is. Folks, you don't want cataracts. You don't want a glaucoma. If you're at the fair, enjoy the food, everything else. You can see snakes, everything. Today, take the time to do it. They're going to offer free vision screenings from 9 to 6 in the fair senior lounge, and they do a fantastic job with a very small budget. Missouri Rehabilitation Services for the Blind, and I know the governor's very appreciative they're doing that, and it's free. And I know a lot of people don't have a lot of money. It's a good chance to do that.
In glaucoma, now in the state of Missouri, one of the best treatments for that is legal marijuana.
And that is and it used to be medical marijuana that they would recommend, people would recommend, but that is interesting.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to see as you become complacent, and you can doom scroll all day and become a non-productive citizen.
Eat a lot of Lay's potato chips.
As you become an apathetic doom scrolling, you can see your screen better because your glaucoma's cured.
And isn't that good news? Good news.
Yeah, let's legalize more. Let's go in the way of Colorado and Oregon. Man, that's the way I want to go. All right.
And of course, they're not promoting that in Sedalia today, but the big thing they're promoting is to get the eyes checked.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty positive.
Next year it'll be the governor's weed breakfast. All right.
They better double up on the number of hams.
Mike Keogh's dialing us now. Randy, that's the last time I'm ever on the show.
I have a feeling if he's listening, he's probably laughing.
Hey, he's probably laughing.
Yeah, all good. Great show, guys.
The visual of meme with Governor Kehoe with a joint in his mouth, that would be the
fighting
meme
glaucoma.
of the century.
Fighting glaucoma.
You never say never. He was a car salesman.
Peter and Randy, you both need to get to the State Fair Ham Breakfast next week. It is a huge, huge event. It is the biggest. I mean, even in a non-election year, it's one of the biggest events of the year. Every political person in the state is there. You'd enjoy it if you can.
I know Stephanie's going to be there. I'm actually out of town
You're
next
out of
week.
town.
But
and I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
I'm going to be physically
so you won't be able to go.
holding down the fort right here on Wake Up Missouri, statewide.
Statewide should be good. President Reagan spoke there in '84 at the Ham Breakfast.
Peter and I are going to bring our own ham in next week.
Can we all agree that it's interesting. The citizens of Columbia are at once winners and losers. Because, of course, top on the winners list is the CPD, Jill Schluty, and her force there, both, at the desk and in the street. Great job. And congrats that her recruiting efforts are paying off. Moving the academy in-house seems to be working excellently.
Yes.
And this new strategy, I think they're winners in my book, and I think many of our listeners as well. But the citizens are going to be winners because of that, too. On the other hand, the citizens are losers, as Rogers says, because they elected a socialist to the city council. And that's what happened. And now this is it's gone from a purple to a deep blue to a now non-royal, but that's the color. It's called royal blue.
Yeah, well, here's what it really comes down to is that for anybody, it's great candidates are great candidates. When you have a candidate that's not doing the work and not doing what it takes to win elections, it's more than just lawn signs, people.
You're right. I think business owners in the downtown area and the patrons are winners as well as a result of this move. MoDOT. You mentioned MoDOT. Yep. Congratulations to my winners on MoDOT who filled in the potholes as you turn on from Grindstone to 63 North.
Yep.
Thank you for that. I have only had to have 5 suspension modifications in the last year. Hopefully those will decrease. And I think
on an F-250, no less.
And also, so winners to the MoDOT guys who did that. Texas Democrats are losers, too. And Boone County senior citizens, I think, are winners because of this the freeze.
Our parents will be better.
There you go.
Yep.
And Vera Elwood, by the way, says she's a democratic socialist. Just so you know, a democratic socialist officially is what she says.
Yeah, you can't put lipstick on a pig, right?
You're a socialist. Communist.
And I'm not making a personal attack on her. It's about her politics.
And by the way,
use the word Democrat thinking it's going to dress it up. It ain't any prettier, folks. It ain't any prettier.
No, if you go to the Democratic Socialist website of America, if you go to their website, they refer to each other as comrade. I like that.
Quickly, winners and losers, Drake.
Winner, Trump's everything that Trump's been doing this week with the redistricting.
Yeah.
I mean, not only is he going to recensus, but I mean, everything with Texas and Missouri redistricting. It's great. Also great for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Bengals are the only team that I think have a chance at actually beating them, and they are not looking promising this year.
So you're happy about that?
No, I'm not at all. I'm not at all. Joe Burrow, he put up a perfect game, and they put their starters out on defense, and they let up like 40-something points to the Eagles' backup. So it's not good.
All right. There you go. Drake has that count. Here we are in Chief Kingdom. Can't wait for the Chiefs to get
I think that was the AP Comeback Player of the Year last year, if I'm not mistaken.
All right. We'll come back and wrap it up with leftovers. Stay tuned.
This is Wake Up Missouri.
Time of the week and the program where we wrap it up with things that we haven't been able to get to that are, especially on a Feel Good Friday, fun. And I got to ask you, Drake, I know you're not really a baseball fan, right? That's not your favorite sport. You like softball.
Yeah, I mean, I'll watch. I love softball or Mizzou softball. I'll watch the Cardinals occasionally, but it's not my number one.
Would those passions change if they brought widespread hot female umping to baseball?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the first gender-breaking major league umpire, female, debuted last night in Tennessee.
And she kicked out the manager because she had a bad dream about him the night before.
I don't know if she's good looking or not. It doesn't matter. But
she is not.
It seems
that's impolite. You just sit there.
Google her.
She's stately.
I don't know.
She looks like some of the umpires that used to back us up in Legion Ball. You don't look like you want to cross her either.
So essentially what you're looking for is an influencer from the Instagram.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Jen, is it Powell? Pawol. She's, let's just...
Sturdy.
She's sturdy, yeah. You were talking about testosterone before.
Yeah.
just saying. So anyway, so this started, okay, what was the first league to have, it was the NFL, right? No. What was the first league? Yeah, NFL, then NBA.
Yes.
Right?
I think that's, yeah.
Then I think soccer, and now the MLB. MLB, yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, good. So she's broken the ice there. Now, if they were to, things might change if you might get some, like, Fox Newsworthy kind of umpire-looking people, right, Drake? Then you'd become a fan? Yeah?
I might show up at the end of the game to get her number, but I don't want to yell at a woman for 9 innings straight.
Oh, you have that much decency. You would not do that. Not for 9 innings, anyway.
No, I would. No, I'm not saying that I wouldn't. I yell at women umps all the time in softball.
Do you yell at the women players, the other team?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. He's a fan.
How disrespectful is that? That's not very gentlemanly of you.
Yeah, well, if it says Kansas on your jersey, you're going to get chewed out.
Oh, bets are off.
Peter, what's on your leftover list?
Yeah, what's on my leftover list that we didn't quite be able to get is that Mom Donnie is on his way, and I just think that's great.
You've got your Mom Donnie smile.
I'm going to be going to New York right before Mom Donnie gets elected, and then I won't go back till he's gone.
Yeah, and I think a lot of would-be tourists will not either. I think it's going to deteriorate. And I know the Republicans across the land are just hoping that Mamdani gets elected, right?
Well, if it doesn't work out for Mamdani in New York, he can always become a councilman in Columbia.
That's right, Phil. Yeah, Don Waterman is he's re-upped. He's going to run again, so we'll have to talk to Don before the election heats up here too.
Remember from the show The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, big hit.
Yeah.
Actress Gina Carano got kicked off that show because she was a conservative.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Disney has settled a wrongful termination lawsuit.
Good.
And so there you go.
Sounds like debanking. Trump did an EO about
yes.
that. Yeah, it's about time that the right fights back. You may not like our politics, but don't make it personal or professional. Go.
Yeah, so just to further the point about the female ump and all of that,
yes.
Banana Ball, which I do watch more than the MLB, they have 2 players that are female, and one of them plays on stilts. It's quite a sight to see.
The Savannah Bananas.
Yes, the Savannah Bananas. No, the Banana Ball is a sport. Savannah Banana is a team in the sport.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify.
What?
Yeah. There's the party animals, the firefighters, and the Texas tailgaters.
I don't know. You're speaking a language that's foreign to me, brother. I don't know.
It's
I'm going to have to go learn about that.
You don't know about the Savannah Bananas?
I know about the Savannah Bananas, but not all the banana ball and everything else.
Well, you need to do something important this weekend. Study that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just not.
Honey-do list be damned. You're doing that.
Banana ball just not very appealing to me. I know you love those puns, Peter. I know you love those puns.
Yeah.
Thanks, Peter, in for Stephanie. You guys have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.